Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Before we get into episode 3, I wanted to tell you a little bit about our Surviving Duck Season channel. It's a new channel right here on YouTube, and we're putting out new content weekly, all kinds of different types of videos. Of course there'll be duck and goose hunting, but we also have crazy stories from the duck blind, tips and tactics for new hunters, or even for some seasoned hunters that want to learn about something new. There'll be product reviews and unboxings, and of course our feature film episodes for Surviving Duck Season. These are episodes about me and my friends across the country who duck hunt every day of duck season. Make sure that you comment, let us know what you think about these episodes, and please make sure that you subscribe to this channel and hit the bell notification so you don't miss any of our great content. Okay, thanks for listening to that. Now here's episode 3.
If you want to shoot ducks, it's real simple. Be exactly where they're going to go.
You don't get to be a guide and say, I know what I'm doing, I know where all the birds are, because, you know, different days present different issues for a hunt to come together or fall apart.
Scouting is an everyday thing. I mean, we don't ever not scout.
We lease thousands and thousands of acres. And in that thousands of acres, I may have a couple hundred pieces of water. We literally will check almost every piece of water we have every day.
It's a daily activity to go out there, keep your eyes on the birds and where they're at. You just have to do your homework.
There's very few places that can be a great number one hole that you can go duck hunting every single day of duck season.
If you're not in the right spot, it doesn't matter if you put out 3,000 decoys.
I've worked in the film and television business for 33 years, and I've duck hunted longer than that. So when I tell somebody I'm scouting locations for a shoot, they don't always know exactly what I mean. Waterfowl hunting is like all other types of hunting and fishing in that the most important factor is the location. Secondary is what you do once you get there. While ducks and geese can be found nearly everywhere, the facts are there are certain places they prefer. Whether that's regionally or down to the exact wetland. Location is also important when targeting specific species. Since ducks and geese can fly hundreds of miles in a day, having the perfect spot can mean nothing if birds aren't there yet, or if they've already left. That's why scouting is so important. Historically, some of the largest concentrations of waterfowl in North America spend most of their winter within 100 miles of Stuttgart, Arkansas. Scouting is an everyday thing for me as a guide. Afternoons, especially late afternoons, I'm driving across many of our properties. That way we know where the birds are, we know where they're roosting at night, and we can kind of make decisions based on what we see, how we're going to hunt the next day.
There's mostly mallards. There's some pintails. There's some gadwalls. Those two just landed right in front of the blind. I mean, like right in front of the blind.
We duck hunt every day of duck season. That's 60 days in Arkansas, and we have guided customers that we take every day. So we have to be able to, reasonably be able to make it happen, every day. And so that's why we have so many properties. I mean, we've got 33 blinds that we hunt. Lots of places that we can do layout hunts if we choose to do that. We've got flooded timber that we stand next to trees. So we've got lots and lots of places. And that's what it takes to be consistent. Coming into last year, we had years of good duck seasons, with 2017 being exceptionally good. But 2018 was an off year. We shot ducks every day, but we just didn't have as many limited out days as we normally do. So it's a good thing we have all that property. There's really a lot that goes into making the decisions on where we're going to hunt. Now, as guides, we all collaborate, we all share freely, information about what we see, whether it's what we see while we're hunting or when we're scouting. But ultimately, Scott makes the decision on where we're going to hunt each day. So there's pretty much two types of hunting spots, and it's important to know what kind of hunting spot it is that we're hunting, because oftentimes the tactics will change depending upon the reason why the birds are in the area. First would be a destination spot, a place that ducks are coming to rest, to feed, maybe to roost. It's a place where you know that they're going to, the X. This is the number one type of place that we choose to go duck hunting. The next type of hunting spot would be a location in where you're in between ducks, going between feeding areas, between resting, and feeding, roosting and feeding, those types of things. When we hunt those kind of places, we call that running traffic, because what you're doing is you're underneath the highway of where the birds are flying, going back and forth, and you're just hoping to call at them, catch them, and get them to come into where you're hunting at. We have a few places that are like that are crazy good. One spot in particular is probably one of the most consistent spots that we have on any of our places to hunt. You can go in there and scout and only see a few birds, but go in there the next day and still kill them really well, because it is right underneath where the ducks fly. It's absolutely amazing. You can see the ducks coming straight from in front of you, looking up into the sky. You see that line of birds and they're coming right over the top of the blind. Same thing, there's another artery that runs east and west to us that's maybe 80 yards out in front of us, and those birds come right over the top of this spot, just out in front of us. They come right overhead, everybody real still. We can call those birds and come right into us, and they're not necessarily coming to the field. Here they come. Now be ready, they're coming from the left. Kill them! Andy. The abundance of ponds, lakes, and small streams make the region of north central Texas a favorite area for ducks during the migration.
On our daily scouting, we are trying to locate why the birds are there, where they are, when they're there. This piece of water in particular is hard because it's in a valley, so in order to scout it, you literally got to climb up over some brush or try to walk out in the field where you can see it. And we routinely bump our birds because of it. We watch them every day, so we literally will check almost every piece of water we have every day. You're looking to hunt stock tanks, so basically water availability for cattle is all you're looking for. A couple gaddies coming up out of there. I can't scout this. How am I gonna scout it? I burn it every time I come to scout. This is one of the ones we're gonna use a cellular camera on. The birds here only stay a couple weeks, then they're heading down to the coast. So we're basically a stopover. They'll hit the large lakes first, and there's a bunch of large lakes around. They're not going to sit there very long because they want smaller pieces of water, half acre to acre. Those are usually the ones that we target because those are the ones that we are the highest chance of success day after day on. Our birds are destination bound. Because they're destination bound, I need to know where they are, how many are there, why they're coming there if I can figure that out, and then what I'm going to be expecting for the morning, what kind of gear I'm going to need. Certain water always produces well. There's a lot of water right next to it that you look at and go, man, that looks really good. We'll never have a duck on it. There's no reason why. There's sometimes no rhyme or reason why they're on the water they're on. So when we are scouting, we kind of throw out the, hey, this looks ducky situation, and we just go to chase the birds where they actually are. So if my birds show up on a Thursday and there's 20, and Thursday the week after there's 30, 45, 50, whatever it is, we'll let them just keep stacking until they hit the number that we either need to make a hunt or we feel that that's the maximum number that that piece of water is going to hold. They don't just keep stacking. They'll sit there for 2 weeks, and if you don't mess with them, they'll leave. The whole cycle will start over again. And so because of that, we have to be real careful about how we manage our birds and what we do. We don't jump shoot, we don't pass shoot, we're not going to be calling ducks in that are traveling a half mile away. It's not the way it works. Our birds know where we are because that's where they were the day before. They're going to be coming in, dropping in, hardly ever do more than one pass, straight down into the decoys, and it's over. If we do see birds out in the distance, generally we're not going to be able to mess with them because they're not going to care because they already have the next spot they want to go to figured out. But that next spot that they're going to is usually on our ground too. So why do I really want to mess with them? I'm just messing up my hunt for the future.
One of the most important wintering areas for sea ducks in the Northeast is off the coast of Rhode Island and Massachusetts around Cape Cod.
You know, everybody does their scouting, but we're scouting a vast amount of area. You know, you're covering hundreds of miles of coastline in hopes to pinpoint where these birds can be. But then not only do we have to put the miles in on the car, you have to put the groundwork in on the water before you get out there, because you know you can't just go out to an area and say, oh, I've seen ducks here before. We've been productive. Those mussel beds and what they might have been feeding on last year might not be there, or might not be as plentiful, and the birds are just passing it up and going, you know, a quarter of a mile down the shoreline. There's one reason why birds come to your decoy spread on the ocean is food source. They want to be in a specific area feeding. So if you set up on the food source or in between the food source, they see those decoys, that's where they're going to want to be. You really have to worry about the tide and what's going on with your hunters. So our tide range on the East Coast can be anywhere from 4 to 15 feet. You have so much scope that's out on that layout boat. You have to know what your tide is, if it's going to go out or if it's coming in. Do you have enough anchor line to keep your clients anchored to the bottom? And or whenever that tide goes down, how wishy-washy and how far is the layout boat going to move from side to side? And are they going to end up in the decoys, farther from the decoys, you know, based on the tide and where the sun come up and then what the wind's doing? You know, it's really a strategic placement when you're doing layout boat hunting.
If Harlequin and Barrow's Goldeneye are on your bucket list of ducks to hunt, one of the best places to go is in southeast Alaska around Ketchikan.
We are expanding our guide service out here to southeast Alaska. It's absolutely stunning, pristine, beautiful environment. I had never went and hunted Alaska at all. Actually had a friend who had moved out there and visited them and just couldn't believe that there was no hunting pressure. So, you know, after visiting a couple of times, doing some other homework to just make sure there's no other guides in the area that would be stepping on their toes, I made the decision that that was the second home for Ocean State Outfitters, which, you know, then there was the birth of OSO Alaska. The biggest difference, I'd say, from the East Coast to Alaska is the depth of the water, and then the massive movement of the tide. A 15 to 30 foot tide range in Alaska, I mean, it's extreme. So you can only imagine when you have that big of a tide change, the vast movement of water that's coming out. So, you know, how much you're anchoring your decoys with, how much decoy line you're using, layout boat placement, everything comes into play. Another big difference is scouting. We don't have the road frontage to make it around, I would say, 90% of anywhere that we're going to hunt here in southeast Alaska. So what it's really boiling down to is, you know, man hours on the boat, scouting. There's really no hunting pressure there. It's a gorgeous, untapped, pristine resource. We're gonna do Barrow's Goldeneye today. Coming in hot and kill him.
Double trouble.
That is what you come to Alaska for, boys, right there. You know, we can't shoot Harlequin on the East Coast. You can't really prevalently shoot Barrow's Goldeneye on the East Coast. Every once in a while, you'll shoot a Barrow's, but not commonly. And both of those are easily come by in Southeast Alaska. It's wonderful.
I think a lot of people are surprised at the amount of work it takes to be successful hunting every day. And when you do it as a guide or an outfitter, it takes it to a whole other level.
You got 3 hours of scouting and prep and decoys and blinds and meeting clients and waivers and all the things that go into, being an outfitter. I'm a duck hunter at heart. We outfit because it's just a natural progression of, kind of what we came to do.
You take something that you loved, that you were doing for fun, that maybe some days, oh man, you know what? I'm tired. I just want to stay in the warm bed. There's no more warm beds in the morning. You're getting up, you're going out, and you're going to provide what you told everybody you can provide for them, which is a successful hunt.
You can't leave it to chance. You can't just go and say, well, we've killed ducks there before, or we went there 3 or 4 days ago. You've got to do your homework, and it's a lot of work. I mean, we do it every day, and it's all part of surviving duck season. Give us a like if you enjoyed the video, and make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit the bell notification button. Don't forget to do that. So until next time, I'm Joel Strickland. Good hunting and God bless.